to Rust Belt Baggage, a podcast about true crime and paranormal activity in the Rust Belt of America. I'm your host, Ariel.
And I'm Andrea.
Two peeps from Buffalo, New York.
Come unpack with us.
Today, Ariel is going to talk about a case that's ruling over this whole world. I'm on TikTok, as many people are. I'm a little obsessed with it. And half the country has been on berries and cream TikTok. And if you don't know what that is, you're welcome.
I don't even know what that is yet. So that's my homework tonight, is to figure out what the hell that is.
You're welcome. And the other half has been seeing this case and obsessing over this case and putting out some false information as well.
A lot out there, yeah.
We also want to let you guys know that this is an open case. We're not going to put any theories of what we think is happening. We're just going to say the facts.
Street facts.
Street facts. Street shooter.
Disclaimer, we are not seasoned detectives. We're armchair detectives, that's for sure. We're not expert with this case and with most of our cases. We're going to talk about what we know and what we can find out from the most reputable sources. We'll throw around the term allegedly a lot, so nobody
Please don't
comes
sue
after
us.
us. So as you probably figured out, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Gabby Petito case. I think there's people out there that are like, tired of this already. But for our first episode, we were trying to figure out, okay, what should we do for the first one to kick it off? And it just felt wrong to just skip over this. It's just brought up so many conversations into the public agenda, which I'm sure that people have seen too on like Twitter and Facebook and TikTok. And the mainstream news now is, talking about missing white girls syndrome, right? Major reason why this is getting so much attention is because that this is a white family, and a white girl. Doesn't mean
They have
that
the resources to reach out to people.
the resources, as we're well aware of, like the FBI, local police departments, like they do take cases that involve white people more seriously. We're going to talk about in this show too a lot of missing and unidentified people in this area. I just looked and found that there are about 60, missing Black, Indigenous, and people of color in just the city of Buffalo alone right now. And we want to take a look into those cases because those cases absolutely should be getting that attention that we see, like with this case. That was a cat, and you might hear some cats. We've got two of them here right now, Doug and Pork Chop.
They're very into being next to us right now.
Like I said, there's about 60, Black, Indigenous people of color missing right now in Buffalo, just in the city. We want more attention paid to those cases, obviously. I do want to give props to a lot of the true crime podcasts. Well, Pork Chop just slammed into the mic, so that's what that noise was. A lot of podcasts out there, ones that I really respect, have been covering cases of BIPOC individuals that are missing or murdered or unidentified. And they've been covering those for a long time. So I don't want to say that nobody is covering these cases, because they are. But unless you're in the podcasting world, really deep into true crime like I am,
Yeah.
like we are, it's not often that you really see it.
Yeah, and like part of that too is if you see a post on Twitter, retweet it. It's not going to ruin your feed, I promise. TikTok really brought this forward, and the fact that it got so quickly well known means that all of these cases could be well known if we just very quickly share things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously check to see from a reputable source, but now we have this technology, and to be honest, the Gabby Petito case is the first case that I've seen unfold in front of my eyes as an adult, right?
Yeah.
When we were younger, millennials, hey, there was like OJ, Casey Anthony, and like Princess Diana, and all these.
One that I'll end up covering sometime, that part of my growing up, was Bucky Phillips.
I was like, I gotta mention that. I remember my grandma was like, can you close the blinds in case that guy is out there?
We'll talk about him
like
once we know how to podcast.
Yeah, once we figure this thing out. It's our first time, okay? But yes, this is really the first time I'm seeing or experiencing as an adult something like this unfold, and just it's amazing and incredible in a lot of ways, seeing the amount of people that really care about this, but also terrifying seeing the amount of people that are just spreading weird stuff, and also something that I think it has been really interesting too, and given me a little bit cognitive dissonance, is all the vitriol going on online towards Brian Laundrie and his parent. Now, I have my personal thoughts, right? Like, I am not happy with these people. I think that horrible crime was committed here, allegedly. My personal opinion. But it's also interesting, like, have you seen online? I've seen some wild, nasty stuff that if I was the Laundrie family, like, oh no, I might be hiding out too. Leaving my house, not do, because at this point, people are making it seem like at any moment a vigilante is going to take this into their own hand. Like, that's the internet looks like right now. There's a lot that is, wow, people have a lot of interesting ways of expressing their hate or their anger.
I'm sure you're going to talk about this, but when you said vigilante, all I could think of was the recent headlines today of Dog the bounty hunter showing up at his house.
Podcast inspirations. The first one I did listen to was Crime Junkie did an episode recently where they went into police body cam video and really had some interesting points that kind of really piqued my interest about this and made me just now be kind of obsessed. But people aren't familiar, Gabby Petito as a 22-year-old woman, and she was going on a kind of not quite cross country, but like a little adventure with her fiance Brian Laundrie. And fiance, that's what people are reporting, and that's what Gabby had been saying. I know some people had said maybe they weren't engaged anymore, something, but her partner. So her and her partner, now they lived in Florida with Brian Laundrie's parent, and that's the house is kind of at like the center of this controversy right now. So they left July 2nd this summer. They were in New York with Gabby's family from Long Island, New York, and they were going through Kansas, Colorado, Utah. Gabby had a travel blog, so they would post on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and all this stuff, and they would use like hashtag van life, which I guess was not something I had paid attention to before, but it is a thing. I've seen a couple articles out on it now. Where people get in their van and they do the damn thing. I don't know. They're fucking Jack Kerouacking it up.
Van life is real big on like the West Coast, Seattle area, California. When it's really sunny and you don't have to worry about freezing in your car. But it's also really big with rock climbers and adventure tourism and things like that. So it's like a huge industry. And the only thing I ever really got into is that I myself really want a van so that I can take my dog and two cats with me everywhere.
I was just gonna say, when I was younger, I kind of wanted to do that, but I've got 3 cats right now. One of them is elderly and requires a lot of care, medication, so I don't think that's gonna be happening anytime recently. I love traveling, but I also love being home, and I love Buffalo. If I'm traveling and I'm away for like 4 or 5 days, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Ready to go home.
Yeah.
Buffalo is great, guys, but I'm very particular with my food and my coffee. And here in Buffalo, we have some of the best food that I've ever had anywhere
Yeah, seriously.
in the country. Anyway, thanks for going on this ride with us, guys. So Gabby and her partner, they're chilling, they're doing their van life, and there is a video. It's on YouTube, and you can find it like just if you search like the body cam footage of police pulling their van over. So it was August 12th in Utah, Moab, Utah specifically, and someone had called because they saw a domestic violence thing that is going on. I'm pretty sure, can you just check it out? So the police are like, okay, and they went out looking and they found the van where this witness saw them arguing. There's different accounts if she hit him or he hit her. I believe actually were 2 witnesses. The first one was like, I saw her hit him, and the second one was like, I saw him hit her.
Yeah.
Either way, wasn't looking good.
Something
Not
physical
good.
happened, not good.
Like, they're not looking too happy.
Already getting suspicious.
Yeah, and so, listen, a lot of us have been in some pretty epic fights with your significant other, right?
Relationships aren't easy.
They're not easy.
Even if you
they're
love
dumb.
them.
And you know, sometimes too, like, you know, myself being like a survivor of domestic violence, like, you can kind of be looking great on the surface or think someone is really great, but then the rubber hits the road, right? When times get tough, you see people's true colors. And Gabby had expressed this to her parents while they've been on this trip, that being together in a van 24/7 was causing a lot of strain, and it was really looking like their relationship wasn't maybe as strong as they thought it was. But also, I don't think anyone can be in a van with their significant other for 24/7 without it being tested, right?
That's a small space. And social media in general, you only put the good things anyways. Nobody's life is perfect.
Right. Yeah, so this altercation, people have a lot of opinions on it. They pulled him over. Gabby was crying and stuff. Brian was shaken up. They had like hit a curb, and they were saying they were arguing in the car, and Brian said that's why he hit the curb. That's why he's driving, like, I don't know the exact number, but he was speeding. Wasn't good. So the cops separate them, right, to talk to them. And this is kind of where the public is questioning, like, did the police do the right thing? The police ended up talking to both of them. When I watched the dash cam video, it seemed Gabby had told them that she may have been the aggressor or the one to get physical in the situation. And to me, this is just my, you know, I'm a social worker, but I'm not a clinical psychologist. So this is my kind of opinion on this matter, is that she looked like she was having a very significant mental health break, or she was really struggling with her mental health. I cannot say because I don't know if this was from being in an abusive relationship or if this was something she was struggling with. Just objectively, that's what it looked like to me. And that's what the police ended up marking it down as.
Yeah.
And the reason for this, which was interesting, I learned this, that in Utah, I'm not sure if this is like all across the US, but police in a domestic dispute, if they did not witness this domestic, you know, the hitting or physical violence happening, they can't just choose who to take to jail, right? So people say,
Really?
right, which I also understand, right? Like, I do understand that police, there's a lot of times where they're not allowed to encourage to use their clinical judgment, right? They're supposed to be objective. Now, are they all the time? No, of course not. But this is what it seemed to be kind of going through their minds, right? Is that, you know, we didn't see this. Either we take in both of them, let them go, but they aren't able to just do like a slap on the wrist, right? So it was basically either, since Gabby had expressed that she was the aggressor, they had two choices. So let them go or give Gabby a citation for court.
So it would end up being a citation. They'd have to go to court and talk. Interesting.
Right. So this is what I learned by doing some digging and listening to some other like podcasts on this, which I was, you know, that does make sense, because I really do believe if the police felt like Brian was a significant danger to her at that moment, then they would have, you know, arrested him, but they didn't really have that flexibility. And I think they felt bad for her. I don't think they wanted to give her a citation. Would that citation have helped in this matter? Probably not. Personal opinion, I don't think it would have changed the outcome of this.
Yeah, I don't know if it would.
So there is an investigation open because of kind of the public backlash. The Moab Police Department was getting, you know, they looked into, like, did they follow proper protocol for this? You know, should they have done more? The initial finding was that they did follow protocol, but they are continuing to look into it, they say, right? Either way, I like to look at the police with a very critical lens because I think that's important. However, I don't really think that there's anything the police could have done in their power at that point to stop this from happening. They did separate them for the night, so they put Brian in a hotel through a domestic violence program. I understand it, Safe Haven. They put him up in a hotel and they let her go take the van.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, I think that was kind of their way of, maybe if you guys cool off. And then, I think that police too sometimes are softer on women.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of felt bad for her. And they were like, well, this is the best we can do right now, unless like we are giving you a citation for court to Gabby. And they didn't want to do that. So that happened. August 19th, it seemed like they had kind of patched things up a bit. They posted a YouTube video. They were in Utah, and they were living the life, the hashtag van life. They're doing their damn thing.
Van life, bro.
Van life.
Just think of like surfers. Cowabunga, dude.
Yo, van life. No, really. They looked like they were having fun though,
Yeah, they did.
And this was something that Gabby really loved. She was really passionate about it, and she really was working hard on this travel blog because she loved it. It looked like they both did. August 22nd, she did a FaceTime call with her dad from Salt Lake City. Her and her parents were very close. It seems like the ones that are kind of talking publicly are her mom, her dad, and then her stepdad.
Mm-hmm.
So they talked. August 25th was Gabby's last post on social media, on Instagram. Or it didn't have a tagged check-in location, but they think it was in Utah, maybe. Gabby talked to her parents in Teton, the Teton Reserve in Wyoming, where they were going to be camping for a little bit. That was the 25th of August, the last time her parents heard from her, right? Or like spoke to her, heard her voice. August 27th and 30th, her parents got some weird text messages that, like, now they're saying they don't feel like they came from her. They were very short. One was, there's no service in Yosemite, and the other was something referencing possibly her grandfather, and can you help him out with whatever? I keep getting texts and voicemails from him, or from the Stan person.
Is it Yosemite or is it Yosemite?
Wow. Can you take that part out? Yes, leave it in, because this is me. This is me, okay?
We will now be referring to Yosemite as Yosemite.
That's fine. What do you mean?
It sounds like some sort of bug that you find probably in your van.
Yosemite. So got some weird texts, and her parents were like, okay, I guess they're just doing their damn thing. They're in their 20s.
What those texts say yet?
So the first text says no surface in Yosemite.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The second one.
Forgot about that.
The second one says, can you help Stan? I keep getting texts and voicemails.
And
so the mother thinks that is in reference to her grandfather, Stan. However, the mom thought it was kind of weird. Looking back on it after she was missing, the mom thought it was weird because she never calls her grandfather Stan.
Okay.
I assume
That's weird.
Yeah.
She'd call him grandpa if it's her grandfather.
Right. I assume like that.
What are all the other terms? I only know the
Yeah.
grandma terms. Nona.
Yeah, I always
like
called
that.
my grandparents like grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
Well, actually, when I was a kid, I called my grandfather Pappy.
Aww.
I honestly don't know what that even means or why.
I don't know either, but that just is like to imagine a little Ariel saying, "Pappy, come here, Pappy. I need some water, Pappy."
Some water.
It's just, oh my gosh, my heart.
So that was that. But yeah, so that's why she thinks that it was weird looking back on it, in hindsight, like maybe my gut was right in that.
Yeah.
But again, like they are like in their 20s, like they're adults, and I think the parents, as close as they were still like, they're doing their thing, right? And they didn't feel like they had any concerns that Brian Laundrie was violent, or that they knew that the relationship was tense, but at that time they've said that they didn't, it wasn't anything that would make them feel like unsafe, like that their daughter shouldn't be there with him. Then September rolls around. So allegedly, according to his parents, Brian returned on September 1st with the van that they've been sharing without Gabby, just him.
Which is the first weird thing. Why?
Yeah.
It's her van.
Very, very weird. I think that they were sharing the van. I'm not sure. I actually didn't see if it was like in her name or her parents' names. I'm assuming not, because the van is still, I believe it's still with the Laundries. Yeah, allegedly. So, we came back, and the parents, we don't know what happened there, why they didn't think it was necessary to communicate with Gabby's parents, the Petitos. The Petitos reached out.
Oh wait, they reached out.
The Petitos were texting, calling, trying to get a hold of Brian and Brian's parents and family, because they hadn't heard from Gabby. And they were like, we haven't heard from her. Brian wasn't answering. The parents weren't answering. They were just ignoring the Petitos, Gabby's parents. September 11th, the parents found out that Brian returned without Gabby, and they reported her missing on September 11th. Then the van was towed to the police station so they could look for look for something in there, because the parents were like, Brian's been back this whole time and without her, and nobody told us. Like, that's fucked up. And the parents basically just responded to comment, when they reported her missing and the police, wanted to speak with Brian's parents, they just were like, here's the number for our lawyer.
Yeah, so strange. And I know that everyone deals with things differently, but what?
Yeah. So that was weird. The parents they were really upset, because they were like, they'd been trying to reach out. None of us really know what Brian told them or didn't tell them, or what the hell was going on there. September 17th, the parents reported Brian missing. They called the police over to their house. This is wild.
I can't help but laugh at this one.
It's absurd. It's absurd. And I feel bad for all the family members. Like, I don't know. The parents really need to come out to talk, if only to bring some kind of comfort to Gabby's family, right? Sad. It's so absurd. Parents are like, yeah, so Brian, left 3 days ago. This was the 17th that they reported this.
I know that at that point, when he left, he wasn't, there was not really a suspicion, or he wasn't a suspect, but why would someone even let him leave? Why was he even allowed to leave? That just makes no sense.
I agree. He was a person of interest, still is a person of interest, not, he's indicted on the unauthorized device usage, but...
Even if he wasn't, wouldn't it just be smart of him to be, stick around in case someone needs to ask him questions? And it's just so weird.
It appears like the police were kind of keeping tabs, but they weren't, stalking Brian. They were keeping tabs on him, and I think that they thought, he wasn't a flight risk. They must have somehow evaluated that, and so maybe they eased up a bit, and then, it turns out he's been missing for 3 days.
Is it still Florida police that's dealing with it?
Well, it's been a mix of the police and the FBI. So this was the police, I believe the Northport police in Florida. Yeah, so they're like, yeah, so he went camping 3 days ago, and he didn't take his cell phone or his wallet. And yeah, we haven't seen him.
Which, why would you not take your wallet? That's the one thing that you actually need.
Right. And I found I don't want to get too into, he drove his car to this Carlton Reserve that they've been searching, and the parents went there and they found the car and they drove the car back without, there's a lot of conflicting stuff on that, so I don't really want to talk about it too much, just because I don't feel confident that that's all verified quite yet, maybe. But they did end up searching his Mustang. Then the police brought it back to the parents' house, and that was supposedly the Mustang that the parents went to pick up at the Carlton Reserve on, probably was the 17th then, when they reported him missing. But people were like, why did you wait 3 days? In my mind, the first thing I thought was oh no, he is going to hurt himself, or he's this is not good. And the parents had said that to the police, well, we were also, concerned that he might hurt himself, but it's okay, well then, people are saying, do you think they would really let him go or let him leave if they thought that? But again, we don't know. Every family's different, and there are some families too, don't talk about mental health stuff. So maybe they could be just speculating. Maybe it's the type of family that maybe they had a little bit of concern, but they don't talk about those things, and they just kind of were he's an adult, he can do what he wants to do.
My initial thought was going back for evidence and hiding something. If they were paying attention to him, they would have found Gabby sooner. Like that was my thought.
Yeah, there's a lot of like speculation on that of did he go back, or did he take a flight from Wyoming to Florida first and then go back and then get the van and then drive the van back?
Did we know if he was on a flight?
Yeah, I would think so. Just saying there's a lot of speculation around that, and a couple people coming out talking to the FBI before they posted on TikTok that they gave him a ride. He was hitchhiking.
Oh yeah, those two girls. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it was the 27th. Someone spotted their van with their dash cam near the area where her body was found. That was the 27th. Someone had allegedly given him a ride to a dam that was near the campsite, and then he short time later hitchhiked back to the campsite. So like, what was going on there? The FBI said that they have gotten that information, but they haven't come out and said like, oh yeah, this is definitely what happened. That's just kind of, what is going on. I think it's definitely possible. I have a lot of theories around that part. So of course on September 19th, Sunday, September 19th, they did locate the body in the Spread Creek campsite. It was very rural. It wasn't like a designated campsite. It was just like in the woods. So they did find the body. The initial, they searched Brian's house after that happened, his parents' house, so where him and Gabby were living. The FBI was there. They took like tons and tons of boxes, I'm assuming boxes that could be potentially used for evidence. They took that all from the home, still didn't, put out a warrant, started searching, I should say, after the 17th, they had started searching for him. After her body was found, they like turned it up a notch and were really searching and continue to search the Carlton Reserve. So on the 23rd, that was when they started kind of referring to it as a manhunt. They put out an indictment that he's wanted for unauthorized use of a bank card and PIN number for that bank card. We don't know whose it was. Between the 27th and the 1st was using this bank card and a PIN that didn't belong to him.
Interesting.
Yes. So people are speculating, of course, that it could have been Gabby's. But again, we don't know. The autopsy revealed their preliminary finding was homicide. Again, like, we don't know what that means.
Yeah, they haven't said an actual...
Right. And a lot of people are saying, why don't we have any details? Give me more details. Like, I don't know. How did she die? Like, this and that. They want to know everything. But also, like, people need to understand that there's stuff that the FBI knows that they're keeping really close to their chest. Because, number one, if the public knows everything, then the police department will get hundreds of fake or confused, or their tip lines will be flooded with stuff. Yeah.
TikTok mediums.
Right. And like, that's not helpful. If you actually really have something, you were there, or you know Brian, or you knew Gabby and you think you know something, absolutely call, the FBI or their Northport Police Department. If you just see something on social media, like, the FBI doesn't need to hear from you. There's that, like, keeping that like close to their chest, right? And then also, like, when they question Brian, if and when, hopefully when they do, they're gonna need to make sure that he knows things only the killer would know, right?
Right.
So if everybody knows everything, then it's really hard to say like, well, we haven't released this, but you know this, right? So, being able to, we don't have all this information. So, if it is Brian, or if it is even someone else that did this, we don't know 100%. And they need to keep some things close so that they can find the right person, and not just someone who might be wanting attention, false confessions, or things like that. I was thinking the other day, I'm like, I know it's hard being patient for like details, and everyone on Twitter and TikTok wants to know. They just need to know, like, the police isn't doing their job. But I think there's a lot of stuff going on that we aren't seeing.
Yeah, this is real life. This isn't a movie.
Right, exactly. This is real life.
This is happening to someone in their family.
Exactly. And you kind of have to like respect their privacy as much as you can. obviously, like, I've been very interested in this, so I've been following along with it to make sure that they can get him. It turns out that Brian, or let's just say like the killer, the person who did this, right? If they really want to punish him, like, as much as they can, there's a lot of legwork that goes into that, right? It's not just like someone's found dead.
Yeah.
Like, they think you did it, you go to jail for life, right? There's a lot of very meticulous and strategic
It's not how it works.
Stuff involved that they have to build a case. Like, it's not enough just to say, like, oh, like, you probably definitely did this, right? They have to really build so much evidence against him, and it slows down that process when the public is kind of like bogging down things with false leads or this and that. And also, something I was thinking about was it's gonna be impossible to find a jury of his peers, right? Like, I think this is gonna go on for so long because in order to have like a trial by jury, you can give up some rights to not do that, right? And that would be smart of him, in my opinion. Again, the person that did this is probably not gonna go in front of a jury, at least for a long time.
Right.
Because a jury has to be not prejudiced, and everyone is prejudiced right now in America.
So prejudiced right now about this case. You have your own thought. We're trying really hard not to put all of our own thoughts in this because we obviously have our own theories, because what else are we gonna do? It feels exciting, even though it is like gut wrenching.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, I have felt, honestly, like, following this, I felt like physically like ill.
Yeah.
Like, just seeing this, and like the poor families, and just this whole like collective rage that's going on right now. In my humble opinion, the trial's gonna be a hot mess.
It's gonna take forever.
It's gonna take forever.
Those
But
40-minute cop shows where they solve a murder in that 40 minutes, where it seems like it's only been 2 weeks, is actually like 5 years.
right. Exactly. And they want to really have the best chance of putting the killer away for life, or for a long time. They need so much evidence.
Yeah.
And they don't need, people showing up places, which is happening, like showing up to the parents' house, showing up to the campsite, showing like that stuff. Like,
it's like clickbait. Did you watch clickbait?
Oh, it was so good. I love that.
That's what's happening. Has someone built an app yet for trying to find Brian?
Well, I haven't looked too much into it because I was like, I don't want to give this like too much of my attention of that, but
that's what it sounds like, though. It's like that manhunt that happened with clickbait.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like a couple other interesting things kind of going on. September 25th, I think that was yesterday, right?
That was yesterday. Today is the 26th.
Don't know much about this guy, but Dog the Bounty Hunter has a show, like, or had a show. I don't know. Like, he's like a famous guy who's had like a reality show or something. Anyway, y'all probably know who he is. I kind of know who this person is.
Look at him. Look at his mullet. Love you.
He kind of looks like Joe Exotic to me.
I was thinking Rogan. Joe Rogan. Is that his name?
Oh, okay.
I have too many Joe names in my head.
There's a lot
now
of Joes.
I can't think of Joe Rogan, the wrestler.
Yeah.
Nope, that is
no.
not,
Joe Rogan's a comedian.
Is not the right person. What is his name?
Wait. Oh, the Hulk guy. Is that who you're talking about?
The Hulk wrestler.
We're so terrible.
This guy. This is what he reminds me of. What is his name? It's like Hulk Hogan. You said Joe Exotic, so I had Joe, and now Hulk Hogan.
Yes, he kind of looks like that.
Dog
anyway,
the Bounty Hunter looks
Dog the Bounty Hunter went to the laundry's house and knocked on the door, and they didn't answer, of course, and he left. So that was yesterday. You might ask, like, where are you getting this information from? Well, I have been following a journalist. His name's Brian Enton. Started following him after I heard his name mentioned on one of my favorite true crime podcasts as a source. So Brian Enton, been following his Twitter. He is a correspondent with News Nation Now in Miami. which has a national news network that covers, it's got like 24/7 coverage of national and international news. So he's a correspondent, and he has been like straight up camped out outside of the Laundrie's house for like an entire week. Like he just chills there. He like all day. I think he leaves to go to bed at night, like 9 p.m. And then he's back in the morning, and he's been at the Carlton Reserve, not participating in the search, but like kind of just chilling, at the reserve to see, just kind of watch and see like what's going on. But yeah, he was the one that posted the video I saw of Dog the Bounty Hunter. He's tried to ask the parents, some questions. They won't. There's crime scene tape still around the house, and he spoke to the neighbors a bunch of times. And the neighbors let him, they were like, yeah, you can chill on our property so you can watch, what's going on. And he updates every time, like, the FBI stops by. So, like, today, I think it was this morning, the FBI stopped by. The parents handed an envelope over to them. So it looks like it was, like, coordinated ahead of time.
My face, but...
Ew. You're like,
what?
So Brian Enton, the correspondent, had talked to a former FBI agent to kind of say, hey, what do you think's going on here? This former FBI agent had speculated it could be a personal item or something that they can use for DNA matching, probably. And it seems like, they had coordinated that before, communicated with the parents. Yeah, we need some DNA basically as a matcher. So, I'm assuming for Gabby's autopsy and for anything they might find, whatnot. But that is what it's looking like. So it seems like the parents, although they're not talking, they are doing everything that they're being asked for.
That's good.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we stand right now. I'm also following CNN and CBS News for updates, but I've really been finding Brian Enton's Twitter feed really great because he's literally just standing outside of the Laundrie's house. So he's doing the damn thing out there. He's dedicated his whole this last 2 weeks and for the foreseeable future just to this case, because it's got so much national attention.
Thinking about how all of this now sounds like clickbait to me.
Right?
It's camping out outside of the family's house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. That's just the updates, and the story right now. I think this case really is highlighting a lot of things. It's highlighting, just the role that social and digital media plays in cases like this, and issues of domestic violence and policies around that. And then I definitely feel like this case can kind of push the conversation about missing and exploited BIPOC individuals too, because people are talking about that, that this probably wouldn't have gotten so much coverage, if it weren't for
her
this
pretty white blonde girl,
a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, young white woman. And I think it can give the public a chance to talk about the importance of highlighting all of these cases, really examining the role of domestic violence in murders, and just looking at are our policies for policing and stuff, are they going to help prevent things like this, or are there ways of preventing things like this? More on this show too. We really want to, and we want you, the audience too, to send us in stories or leads or just information about people maybe that that might be missing, or have a case that is unsolved and you want to bring attention to it. We want to highlight that on this show. Lots and lots more of opinions and thoughts, especially around the disparities in coverage for BIPOC individuals who are missing. And I think that's something we can get into more in a future show.
We'll leave our opinions to the cases that are closed.
But I'm always going to give my sociological critiques. However, we're not going to say this is what happened in this case, because we don't know. And we just really hope that Petito family can get some closure soon. To end this, on a bright note, though, you can find online some live footage from Gabby's funeral, which was held this afternoon. There was like so many people just showed up from everywhere. People traveled like
Awesome.
to bring flowers or just like, be a presence. And the parents, had it open to the public for people who really just wanted to, express, their condolences to come and do that. He, there's some video of his, Gabby's father, her parents talking at the funeral. It was just so heartbreaking. But the parents just really hope that in her name, people can just make sure to, speak up for those who are missing or, bring justice, to Gabby and other women, other individuals who tragically have met an end like this. It was heartwarming to see like how many people showed up and just expressing like I said, their condolences and stuff. It was really great. So it's, not all in vain, and it's not all about just like this is an interesting true crime story. It's humanity, real raw humanity, and we kind of see it unfolding. It's important to, I don't know, just keep the family, manifest good vibes to the Petito family.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, like light incense, pray, manifest, cast spells, all of goodness to the Petito family. There's, you can find it online, the Future Gabby Petito Fund. The parents have, we'll put links to this like in the show notes, but you can donate to the Future Gabby Petito Fund. Of course, if you have any legitimate tips, like, some information, contact the FBI, contact authority people that, you need to. So that's what's going on right now. We'll keep y'all updated. I'll put a link to Brian Enton's Twitter too, because I think it's the most trustworthy source that I have found so far. Yeah, that was our first go at this.
Whoa. A lot to unpack. You can find us on social media at Rust Belt Baggage on all of them. Email us, rustbeltbaggage@gmail.com. If we do everything right, you can listen to us anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. If we don't do it right, you can find us on YouTube.
We will get this down, we promise. And next time, we're each gonna have like our own mic too, so we won't be sharing one next time.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Thanks for joining us. This has been Rust Belt Baggage.